What is up, YouTube, and welcome to the Extra Point. Big news has happened this week. The Extra Point will no longer be a sports podcast, but it will be an NFL podcast.
That's right.
Strictly NFL. No other sports, strictly NFL. We've talked to fans. We have discussed it in our group. And we keep getting all these NFL topics. And just to make it easier, it's what the fans want, and we're okay with it, what we like to do. It's our most comfortable topic, and we are going to do it with NFL. The Extra Point is now an NFL sports
NFL
podcast.
only.
NFL only. How are you doing, Nick?
Well, Hunter, per usual, I'm doing pretty well. I hear you're doing fantastic. Is
I
that
am doing
right?
fantastic. Yep,
Oh, okay.
I'm doing fantastic, Nick.
Great. Good.
Doing fantastic. Welcome to the Extra Point, episode 14, right here on FAR Superior YouTube channel. We have two topics for you today. Two topics. We have some teams that have interesting schedules coming up. We are going to be talking about the Jets, the Jaguars, Falcons, Raiders, Cowboys, and Redskins. If you're a fan of any of those NFL teams, I suggest you stay tuned and watch this video. We are also going to be going over fantasy. It is fantasy season.
It is fantasy time, people.
Fantasy time, and we will be going over the top 3 players at their respective positions.
Yep.
Our opinions. Right here, right now, The Extra Point, episode 14, NFL only, revamped and re-upped, I guess you would say. Something like that, maybe?
All right. Let's
Close
just
enough?
get started. That was awful. Let's get started.
All right. Nick, your first team to talk about schedule-wise. Who is it?
First team I want to talk about is what I believe most are ranking as the hardest schedule. That's the poor Oakland Raiders, poor John Gruden. We've talked about them pretty much way too. We talked about them a lot, okay?
We do.
Which is fine. They've done a lot of good things on the offseason, a lot of good topics, got some good players, some veterans, great rookie drafts. However, the hardest schedule in the league. I don't expect the Raiders to make the playoffs at this point. I thought they could be successful previously, but they have a tough schedule. Really, what I'm looking at mainly for the whole playoff comment there is their division, okay?
Yep.
What they base these rankings off of is what teams they're playing this year did last year, so in 2018, right. Okay? They will be playing 7 games, so that's almost half their games against playoff teams from last year, okay?
Right.
2 of them are in the division, so they're going to play the Chiefs twice, the Chargers twice. Then they're going to head over to the AFC. They're going to play the Colts, who are like your Super Bowl pick. A lot of teams Super Bowl pick, a good team, and the Texans. And then they're going to hop back over to the NFC, and they're going to play the Bears, who are another Super Bowl contender. That's 7 of their games that they're potentially lost right there. At best, let's say they steal out of those 7-3. There's, upsets happen. I don't see it. I think they're in trouble because of this schedule. And funny enough, I wanted to talk about their division real quick, briefly.
Okay.
You have the Chiefs have the 5th hardest schedule according to the NFL rankings. Right. Okay. So that's already a tough division. The Chargers are the only team in the AFC West that doesn't have one of the most difficult schedules. I believe they're mid-pack, mid-rank. I think the Chargers could take that division because of that alone.
Just because of that?
Yeah, well, the schedule matters, right? So, the Chiefs, I don't know what their schedule rank was last year. Obviously, they did good. So did the Chargers. They can always steal one from, I think, any team in their division. And I could see them because, there are others. The Broncos are top 10. Chiefs are 5th, and Raiders were the first hardest schedule. They have a mediocre schedule. They just have to not blow it, and I think they'll win that division because of it.
I don't agree with them winning the division, but let's go back to the Oakland Raiders.
Okay.
The Oakland Raiders, yes, they have a hard schedule, and we were picking them to do very well this year. Um, and they still might. I still see them possibly going neutral. But like you said, their division, at least two teams, so that's four games right there. I don't see you winning.
Right.
And then you got to throw in, like you said, the Bears. They're going to lose that. The
Right.
Colts,
The Colts
they're
more
going
than
to lose
likely
that.
lose that.
They're probably going to lose against the Vikings as well, who on paper is a
Didn't
championship
consider
team.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I see them going 8-8 or somewhere around
At
there.
best.
I don't at best, yeah. I don't see them making the playoffs, and I definitely don't see them winning their division. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you in some aspect. I don't think they're going to be that successful, and they're still in that rebuilding stage. We were talking
Right.
about back then the Brown or a couple, well, not a couple, one of our first episodes. We were talking about the Browns and the Raiders. Who's going to reach that Super Bowl first? I said they could be a dynasty later on,
Right.
and I still think that. It's just this year,
Not this
nah,
year. Not with
they're
that
done.
schedule, and they're still on that rebuilding stage.
Right.
I mean, even next year, if this schedule, let's say they had a mediocre 15th rank, I think they can make a playoff this year. If they had the hardest schedule next year, depending on who leaves, who goes, they could be a very good team, and it wouldn't affect them much. I think in the future they'll be fine, but that schedule, man, there's a
It's tough.
reason they're first. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to move on to my team. If that's all
Okay.
right with you,
Let's do
or
it.
one of my teams. And it's going to be an NFC South rival of my Carolina Panthers, and it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. The poor Atlanta Falcons that sit
Okay.
at third at the NFC South standings. Poor things. They're going to go into this NFL season with tied the seventh hardest schedule in the NFL.
Yep.
The NFC South is around that mid pack for hard NFL schedules. They're sitting at middle of the pack. And I think they will be third again this year in the NFC South. They might be last. I don't see the Buccaneers beating them, but I see them coming in third. Reason for that, the schedule, that's a factor, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's the biggest factor. The biggest factor to me is they didn't really do much in the offseason. They didn't address their defense like they needed to. The
Right.
defense was the only problem last year. I think Matt Ryan's an overrated quarterback, but he's still got weapons around him, a great running back, two great receivers,
Right.
three, a great offense. But the defense, being 25th ranked last year, did not address the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
As well as you got the Saints, who are still a powerhouse in the NFC with that great offense and a very good defense. You have the Panthers, a rebuilding and revamped team this year and looking to prove something because Ron Rivera is now on the NFL coaching hot seat. So he's looking to prove something. And you got Tampa Bay, who is revamping their team as well. It's
Yep.
not quite there, but the NFC South's a tough division. And I
Right.
see them possibly losing four, like just against two teams in their division, just like we said against Oakland.
Oakland.
Their
Yeah.
defense is not there, and it still has not gotten to that point. If they get a new defense, it's a whole different team. But Dan Quinn's not doing a good job with that defense.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe they did sign. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if Dan Quinn is their GM or not. I truly don't know that, so I don't want to
He's
put the blame on him. He's a solid coach. I
true.
know pretty sure they re-signed Grady Jarrett to a huge deal, and they have good players. They have the capability of having a good defense. Vic Beasley really kind of fell off a cliff after that phenomenal season in 2015.
Yep.
They lost in the Super Bowl. They made it to the Super Bowl. He was unreal.
Hmm.
They basically have the same guys on that team,
They do.
but they have got to start playing better. I think they're capable of better than what they're playing. I see where you're coming from looking at what they did last year. I totally understand. However, I think they will get back to their old ways at least at some point. That they have to. It'd be really a phenomenal drop off for them. That season they made it to the Super Bowl would be a major fluke if they can't turn it up just a little bit this year.
I mean, don't get me
Defensively.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I am loving every minute of them failing, but
Yeah.
it's turning into a Minnesota Viking situation. They have this great team on paper,
Great
and they just
roster on
cannot put
paper.
it together. And I don't know if it's staff. I don't know if it's staff and head
Right.
coaching coordinators or whatnot, or it's
Yeah.
just the defense teams figured out how to score against it, and they just can't. They can't do anything.
Stop it. Yeah.
So I don't know what the problem is. I'm pretty sure it's staff problems, but who knows? I don't know. Anyway, Nick, what's your second team?
The second team for me was I want to just talk a little bit about the Cowboys.
Again,
Not a Cowboys fan by any means, but they have a top 10 schedule, I believe. Or sorry, not top 10. They're 14th overall. But they have substantially the hardest schedule in their division. Substantially. They're 14th overall. The Eagles, 26th. The Giants, 27th. And the Redskins are dead last. Okay? And we'll talk about the Redskins
right.
here in a little bit. But the Cowboys and all the trauma, everything they're going through with Elliott may or may not be on the team, but when the season starts, who's getting paid first, the drama. It's not looking good for the Cowboys. It makes me happy. I enjoy this. It really does. But reality is,
I'm pretty
this
sure
schedule
everybody
just
enjoys it.
adds a lot of trouble to the Cowboys' current situation. Teams like we're talking about here, I don't think we're necessarily talking Super Bowl contenders. We're not talking Super Bowl contenders for the Raiders just yet, not even the Falcons, not the Cowboys. When it comes to making the playoffs, your strength of schedule is going to help you out in your division. And their division is a lot. Their fellow
It's tough.
division teams are a lot. I mean, what's that? 26 is the second hardest schedule in their division. So I think
Yeah.
overall, they have an easy. They're as a division, it's not that hard, but they're so separated from the other three teams. They're going to have to pull something out of their ass. They really
I
are. I think it really dug a deep hole on, which I like. I love. I love it. I can't stand the Cowboys. I think it's great,
Nobody can.
but that's the reality of it right there.
My man Skip Bayless might be having a rough
Yeah,
time this year with old
he
Shannon
might.
Sharp. I can see the Cowboys still pulling the division. I can still see them winning the division with the 14th
over
hard schedule.
over the Eagles.
I can. I can see them doing it even without Ezekiel Elliott. Like I said, to me, he's not that big of a factor. But anyway, moving on from that, I still see them winning it, or they can at least. Um, it's going to be a lot more difficult this year than it was last year because they kind of just cakewalked it last year
Right.
when they got Amari Cooper. But with them having a substantially harder schedule than any other division or team in their division,
Right.
they're going to have to win all those division games.
They are.
That's a must.
Because I mean,
They're going to have to go undefeated
yep.
because looking at their record or looking at their schedule, it's going to be a pretty difficult one, and it's going to be hard games outside of their division.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go undefeated in that division.
And because they are outside of their division, they're playing once again. I think 3 or 4 playoff teams are playing the Patriots and the Rams. Okay, last year's Super Bowl matchup, they're playing both of these teams. Neither one seems to be going anywhere. They have really tough teams to play against.
Yep.
I think one thing to have going for them, obviously, you get 8 home games. If they can win those tough games, that might be at their house. That might be in AT&T. I
Right.
think they can pull it out, but that's the only way. That's just the only way. I don't see the Eagles with the 26th ranked schedule having any trouble this year. So that's the team they're going to have to beat out. I don't think they can do it, but we'll see.
That offense is going to have to score 40-plus points at their home turf because their defense is not going to be able to handle the other,
The
two teams
Rams
in their
are,
division.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, and the other teams they got to face outside of their division, yeah.
right.
I'm going to go with my second team, the oddest schedule in the NFL. The team that has the most travel miles this year, but has the second easiest schedule. It's going to be the New York Jets. The New
Interesting.
York Jets walking in with the second easiest schedule, and I put them as my wild card team this year.
Really?
I did. I mean, in the AFC, they are a potential wild card team this year. They're not going to beat the Patriots, but they will beat the Bills, and they definitely will crush the Dolphins. So I see them being second in their division, a very good contender for the wild card. Sam Darnold last year had a very good year, his
Yeah.
rookie year. They have a pretty easy schedule, and they add Le'Veon Bell, Robbie Anderson, pretty good quarterback receiver.
Yeah.
They also go and sign my boy, Ryan Khalil, a former Panther. Kind of punched the gut a little bit, him coming out of retirement to go with the Jets, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll skip
Plus,
past that.
you got old Quinnen Williams, their
Quinnen
first
Williams about
round
to go
pick.
there.
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams. Defense is revamped a little bit. Some good young guys. Their offense is completely revamped. Some decent receivers they added in the offseason. Not big names, but
Well,
receivers. Le'Veon Bell, like I said, Ryan
yeah.
Khalil, Sam Darnold is out to prove something this year. It is going to be a wild card team this year. Jets,
Well,
count.
my only argument, you're right 100% about all that, and their schedule is easy. But the only thing that I look at that team and go, that's trouble, is Adam Gase. To me,
Yeah.
he's one of
Yep.
those guys, like, he just gets tossed around the league. Why teams want to sign him as their head coach, I really don't know. But he's really not had any success, and he hasn't had success in that division. So he's going to have the same struggles he's had as a head coach.
But you
I don't
also
know
got to
if
look
that's
at
going
what
to
he's
change.
been working with those years, though. Ryan Tannehill, washed up quarterback. I mean, and they
I
didn't
mean, come
have
on.
any good receivers besides, or they had
Right.
one good running back and a crap defense.
We'll see what happens.
What's he
But
got to work with? All right, what's your third team? Your third and final team.
third team I wanted to talk about is the team with the easiest schedule. We've been talking about how the schedule, for the other teams will affect them negatively. When you're the Redskins, okay,
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the worst teams, them the Dolphins, probably fighting for that spot in the entire National Football League. And you are given a rookie quarterback. Yes, they are, Hunter. And you are given a rookie quarterback. Okay, there's nothing better than having the easiest schedule in the league. Period. It's going to be great for Dwayne Haskins.
It is. Yeah, I
It,
give him that.
it really is. It's going to be phenomenal because he's not going to go up against. He's not. They're not going to go up against a bunch of number one defenses. They're not going up against a bunch of phenomenal, playoff teams. I think looking at last year. This is all from last year. The teams they faced, they're right at a 4. They're below 500 teams combined last year. So there's nothing special. There's no special teams they're playing this year that are mind blowing. So I think they can be a solid team. They're not going to win that division. There's no way in hell.
No.
But they could they can grind their way with the easiest schedule to at least maybe 6 or even 7 wins. I can truly see that. And Haskins could be a solid, productive quarterback this year because of it. So,
Well, they haven't came out and said that Dwayne Haskins is the starter. I hope they do because they'd be stupid not to.
he's the starter.
Yeah. So
We know.
I think this is a good year for him. Even if they're not that successful, like you
Right.
said, it still could be a very good year for them and him progressing throughout the year and becoming a better quarterback, learning from his mistakes. He's already got two wins on the board, literally right now as we speak, before they even started against the Giants. So, and he will crush
Yeah.
them because they did him dirty. But I think this is a good year for him individually. The Redskins, sure, why not? But him as a quarterback individually, this is a great year for him and a great stepping stone.
Yeah.
Very easy schedule. Well, we say easy. Every game's hard to win in the NFL, but the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Right.
I think, yeah, you're completely right. They won't win the division, but him as a quarterback, this will be nice for him.
It's going to help really kickstart his, hopefully.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope. We
Should
were,
be.
I don't know if you guys know, me and Hunter are definitely Dwayne Haskins fans. We thought he was one of the best quarterbacks in the draft.
Definitely.
Probably him and Murray, either one of them should have went first. He got passed on Daniel Jones, so Giants will lose. But it's just it's a great way to start your career with an easier schedule.
We will talk about that game, by the way. When the Redskins go to the Giants, or the Giants go to the Redskins, whichever one comes first, we will be talking about that
Redskins get 50 points in one half against the Giants. He breaks records.
That would be great. Oh, my God. We will be talking about that game pre and post game. My third and final team will be a team that we haven't talked that much on this whole entire podcast existence. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going into the NFL with the third hardest schedule, the one of the toughest defenses in the league, a very young and overshadowed offense with Nick Foles, a bunch of no-name receivers, and a injury-prone Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. The Jaguars, I'm just going to look at their first 9 games before their Week 10 bye week. They're going to be playing the Texans twice, the Chiefs' first game of the year, the Panthers, Saints, and Jets. The only easy teams I see in there, Bengals, Broncos, and Titans. Very hard schedule. To get through those 9 games, that's going to be their first test. Make it to the bye week, healthy, and maybe a 500 record. Maybe going 4-5 or 6-4 at that bye week. Because Lord help them, going out of that, they're still going to need it. Not to mention the division they're in against the Texans and the Colts.
Titans and the Colts. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're playing some good teams for sure. I mean, they have the top 5, right? They're the third hardest schedule in the league.
Yep.
My thing is on them, who knows what they're going to be. They had almost the exact same team down to the T last year that they did the year prior, in which they made it in a close, tough loss in the AFC Championship game.
Yep.
What did they do last year? Win a couple games to start off, and they fell off a huge cliff. So I can't judge on the Jaguars. I can't. I know Blake Bortles. I know it's Nick Foles now, but even him I can't judge on. We've seen this guy. Those 7 touchdowns in the game, have no incompletions in the game. He's won a Super Bowl, and we've seen Nick Foles throw 4 picks, no touchdowns in the game. He's very inconsistent. I never liked that pick by the Jaguars for signing him to that big contract. I don't know how he's going to be. They're so inconsistent. I mean, if they're as good as they can be, I don't think the schedule will affect them much because they can be really good.
The thing that gets me, he doesn't have any weapons on the offensive side of the ball. So it's just Nick Foles.
He's got Alec. He's got Robinson. He's got Corey Grant.
He's got Marquise Lee, D.D. Westbrook, Chris Conley, Terrell Pryor,
former quarterback,
Leonard Fournette, Alfred Blue. I mean, James O'Shaughnessy. He doesn't have any reliable targets on offense, and I'm like you. I'm not sold on Nick Foles just because his past when he was a starter was not really that special. He is a solid backup, the best backup quarterback in the league, in my opinion. That is him. The defense is still phenomenal. They didn't lose anybody on defense. They gained Josh Allen and others, Quincy Williams. So they're doing great things on defense. But when they are going to have to face the Texans, who have a top 5 defense or a top 5 hardest schedule as well, and a top 5 defense, and they're going to face the Colts, who, in my opinion, are one of the AFC favorites. It's going to be very, very hard for them, and I don't think they have it on offense to get past the Colts or the Texans. I mean, Texans, you got Deshaun Watson, a bright young quarterback, and the best receiver in the league, and DeAndre Hopkins. So, no, I don't. Their defense is great, but their offense is horrible. I don't have any faith in Nick Foles to get past this dreadful schedule.
Right, and I agree, but I don't think the schedule matters for them because, like I said, their whole team's a roller coaster every year. Who knows what they're going to do anyway? That certainly does not help. They have to play some really good teams in those first 9 games before the bye week.
Oh, after it's still bad after, but yeah, you're right.
That's why you gotta love the NFL. We'll see what they can do.
All right, that was hardest schedules in the NFL. Our 6 teams that we picked.
Yeah.
Be right back, and we will talk about fantasy right after this. Just wanted to take a couple moments to tell y'all about the website Overtime Heroics. Overtime Heroics is a sports website that includes podcasts, live shows, sports news, and forums where you can talk to other people in the sports community. It's free and it's easy to make an account. Once you do, you can post your opinions and debate on other people's topics. We post on it regularly, so be sure you find us and give us your opinion on our topics. Remember, overtime heroics, and now back to the video. Welcome back to the Extra Point episode 14. We are going to be talking about fantasy. Top 3 fantasy players at their respective positions. Quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, defense, kicker. Did I miss anything? I don't think so.
That's it. I'm not doing flex. Flex is the same thing as running back, wide receiver.
No, we're not doing flex. No. So anyway, going into it, quarterback. Nick, who is your number 1 quarterback this year in fantasy?
Number 1 quarterback is easy. I mean, I got to go with the guy who just won MVP. He's on the face of Madden, Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Got to go with Patrick Mahomes at number 1.
Still has the same exact team. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. I don't think he will. I'm once again, I'm not sold on him, but he's really good. If you're going
off of last year, I don't know who else you would take over him if you're going off what he's capable of doing. I really,
with literally the same exact team minus Kareem Hunt.
It's his own fault if he's not successful again.
No. What about your number 2? Who is your number 2?
Number 2 was my old number 1 before Patrick Holmes. That's Russell Wilson, one of the greatest pure combo quarterbacks of all. He can run it when he needs to. He can throw 40 touchdowns in a season. He can throw for 4,500 yards or more. He's got it going on. He doesn't throw many picks. Yeah, he's a perfect quarterback. I love that guy.
See, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I am. He would be my number 4 this year.
Good God.
I think that offense is slowly starting to go down. He lost Doug Baldwin, who was a big target for him. Huge.
Yeah. No, it was his number 1 guy. Yeah.
So I think that will take it away this year. I'm not going to say he's still number 4, and he's still by far one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm not going to put him at number 2, though.
Are you going to say – okay, let me say it. You're going to say Andrew Luck.
I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers at number 2.
Aaron Rodgers, okay.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be my number 2. Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham, still a great quarterback. He's got a offensive coordinator, or he's got a head coach that
is offensive-minded.
And I'm not 100% sure how that will turn out because I'm already hearing there's a little feud going on. But anyway, going off of that, he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And I still think he will be one of those top guys this year. I mean, great quarterback overall in general. So, yeah, I have him at number 2.
It's a reasonable pick for number 2, but I put him at number 3. Put him at number 3.
You got him at number 3.
I got my 2 guys I really want at Mahomes and Wilson. If they're not available, if Rodgers is, then that's the guy I would snag up. He's even if the guy misses 2 or 3 weeks due to injury, he's still going to be good when he plays. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks when he plays. So I don't care what offense he's in. He's a playmaker. So he's always going to be in my top 3 until the day he retires.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So for my 3rd, a lot of people are going to not like me for my 3rd, and I don't care. You can call me biased, whatnot, but I'm going with your predicted MVP a couple episodes ago, and that is Cameron Jarrell Newton. Number 1 is going to be number 3 in my list.
Nothing wrong with that.
A revamped offense with DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, still a god in the backfield. Great offensive line on paper. Cam Newton with that shoulder surgery is going to come back with a vengeance and is going to come back and be at least top 3 in fantasy this year.
I was so close to putting him at that number 3. I just couldn't get away from Rodgers because I know what he's going to do.
Right.
But yeah, Cam, I was seriously, I had his name on my list. I just removed it. I'm glad you put him on there. You did shock me though. I was really expecting you were high on Andrew Luck this year. I was expecting to hear a lot. I was expecting him to be in your top 3, Andrew Luck.
He's
top 5 anyway. Well,
he's
close
my
enough.
5. Russell at 4, and then him at 5. It was a toss-up, but I wanted to go with somebody bold. And that's why I went with Cam. Looking at the team, looking at him, I think he'll do great things this year. So
I could see it. Yeah, I could see it.
going to running backs, we should have the same running backs. Who's your number 1? And don't you dare mess this up.
Okay, my number 1 is obviously Duke Johnson. Okay, my number 1 is Saquon Barkley.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Come on. Jesus.
Saquon.
We don't have to talk about that one. It's number 1 Saquon. There's best running back in the league.
Yep.
Number 2.
Well, by the way, number 1, Saquon, he should be your first draft pick. If he's not, then you are.
If you
my
have
friend,
the
have some
number
balls
1
on you.
pick, if you have the number 1 pick in your fantasy team or fantasy draft this year, if you do not take Saquon Barkley, you have failed. I don't even care if you win or go undefeated. You have failed by not picking the best player. Period.
Yeah.
You've failed. Saquon is number 1 all day.
And let's go, not even this year. If you have a dynasty league, best player from here on out until
He's the best player until the day he goes, all right, guys, I've had a good career. I'm retiring.
Right.
He will be the best player. Get Saquon Barkley if you have the number 1 pick.
Definitely.
Point blank, period. Moving on.
Number 2, obviously an easy one, should be yours as well, Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian
Easy,
McCaffrey,
all day.
137 catches as a running back. Ron Rivera came out and North Turner said that they will be taking his touches away. He won't get as many this year. Hopefully he doesn't, because Cam needs to be able to throw the ball more than 30 yards down the field.
Right.
But McCaffrey with a better offensive line, and Saquon, same thing, with a better offensive line, with more targets, so he will get more open targets, not very contested, and more lanes to run through. Got to go with Saquon number 1,
Yep.
Christian number 2.
Yep.
Am I wrong? I am right.
No. That's those were the first 2. It's this third spot that I had a problem with. It's hard. I didn't know what to do for my third one. There's a lot of really good, I'd say, third spot running backs in the league.
Who's your number
3? I put Le'Veon Bell. I couldn't resist myself. I put Le'Veon. I thought really hard about Alvin Kamara. I thought really hard about Todd Gurley. I couldn't help myself. I had to put Le'Veon Bell because he was the number 1 just a couple years ago.
Yeah, he also screwed me last year, but continue. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, before Saquon came in, he was the guy. I mean, take away last year, he was number 1 the year before that, and the year before that for running backs. So he had to be in my top 3. However, Todd Gurley, that man is a touchdown-getting machine. I thought hard about it. If he's in your top 3, you're fine. Alvin Kamara is the black Christian McCaffrey. If he's in your top 3, I think you're also fine. I had to go with Le'Veon because of his history. That's all.
Okay. I am going with Ezekiel Elliott.
What?
I'm kidding. No, I'm going with Alvin Kamara.
I was about to say, man, don't do that to me after what you said last time.
Like you said, he is just like McCaffrey. He's just not as good. I think the Saints, with the same exact offense they had last year, he'll get his touches in the backfield as a runner. He does not have a Mark Ingram by his side, so he is the number 1 running back in New Orleans, and he is also a great receiving back as well, just like McCaffrey. They're the exact same person. Coincidentally, they're in the same exact division as well.
Yep.
I'm going to put him at number 3. By the way, if you do get Ezekiel Elliott, you are an idiot because he probably won't play this year or he's going to miss some games. Anyway, Kamara is my number 3. Le'Veon, I'm not 100% sold on that just because their offensive line is a question, but it's okay. I can see the Le'Veon panning out to a certain extent.
All right. Let's move on to our receivers.
Receivers. Nick, who do you got at number 1? Don't screw it up.
Number 1 is the best receiver in the game. No, it's not DeAndre Hopkins. Love him to death, but it's Julio Jones. All day. He's going to give you everything. He's going to get you the captions. If you're in a PPR league, you're going to win there. If you need the yards, he's got the yards. He's aiming for 3,000 yards, guys. Let's maybe cut that in half. he's getting 1,500 yards at least this year. That's Julio Jones getting at least 1,500 yards this year. The guy's a touchdown machine too. If you need a touchdown, he's got it. 50 yards, 10 yards, 1 yard back, over the shoulder, 50-50 balls. He's the best receiver in the league. Just like Saquon, best running back. Julio's the best receiver. If you listen, okay, if Julio Jones is still available in the second round, if someone doesn't take him before the start of the second round, take Julio Jones.
I agree.
Take him. Take him. Don't take any other player. If all running backs are gone that you want, you take Julio Jones. I hope people are taking notes, Hunter. This is how I've won I've lost 2 straight fantasy leagues in a row in the championship game, however, due to injury. But Julio Jones has never let me down. He's phenomenal. He's number 1 all day. Just saying.
I love Julio. He is the best receiver in football, without a shadow of a doubt. I love Julio to death, even though he plays for the Falcons. But DeAndre Hopkins is my number 1. Sorry, I got to say it. DeAndre Hopkins does one thing that Julio does not do, and it's not Julio's fault. It's not. It's his quarterback's fault, and that is get touchdowns. I've had Julio. I've had him for years.
But he can get touchdowns, though.
No. So I've had him. This is a player that gets targeted 3 times in the end zone on a 1st and goal on the 10. 1st and goal on the 10. 2nd and goal on the 10. 3rd and goal on the 10. Field goal. Or it's a 1st and goal on the 10, 2nd and goal on the 10, and they throw it to Calvin Ridley. It's 3 straight targets to Julio and 3 straight overthrows or underthrows. Period. The end. Matt Ryan cannot get him the football in the end zone. The touchdowns that he gets are 50-yard bombs, and he catches it over 3 guys, gets over them, and then scores. That's why I'm going to put DeAndre Hopkins at number 1, just because of the touchdowns. Julio will be a strong number 2 because he will get 40,000 yards in 1 season at receiving. But the touchdowns is what kills him, and it's not his fault. But I'm going to put DeAndre at number 1, Julio at number 2. Sorry.
Well, I'm the opposite. I respectively, strongly disagree.
Did you have him? Did you have him last year on your fantasy?
I did, and he was phenomenal. He is
still phenomenal.
He had the receptions.
But DeAndre gets the touchdowns.
But in the end, they have the same numbers. If not, I'd have to look it up. In the end, they have the same numbers because he has all the yards and the catches that DeAndre Hopkins doesn't get. I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins,
I get it.
The guy didn't have a drop all last season. I'm not saying he's phenomenal. We talk about him all the time. He's one of he's the second best receiver in the league.
Oh yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying in fantasy, I'm gonna put the touchdowns is what's killing Julio. If Julio gets the touchdowns that Hopkins gets, it's not even a question in fantasy.
Okay, well then flip a coin then. But I'm gonna make my land on Julio Jones and take him number 1, and Hopkins will be my second choice at number 2.
Whatever. Who's number 3?
Number 3. I think we have the same one on this one. After last season, he's got to be in your top 3. Michael Thomas. Sorry, AB. AB's phenomenal. He's going to get 100-something catches. He's going to get at least 1,200 yards. Going to find the end zone a couple times probably. But Michael Thomas, after what he did last year, oh my God. You still have Drew Brees. Your offense is still going to be good. Offensive line's good. Yeah, dude, he's right up there with the best of them with Julio and DeAndre. That's why he's number 3. He's the man. If he's available, get him.
With the Saints having the same exact offense they had last year, minus Mark Ingram, which isn't not that big of a blow.
No.
We knew Michael Thomas was good coming into the year. We knew Michael Thomas was good at the half point of the year. And what's he do? Still does the same exact thing. Cannot stop the man. He is going to be my number 3 as well in the wide receiver position. He's great. He's good. He's great. He's got Drew Brees, one of the most accurate passers in the NFL history.
Yeah.
Gets it to him every single time. Michael Thomas, number 3, without a shadow of a doubt. Antonio Brown, not even close. Tyreek Hill, not even close. Michael Thomas, number 3.
Whoa. Okay. It's kind of close.
I see them 3. Here's DeAndre, Julio, Michael Thomas. I see The rest, like down here, it's not. No, it's
That's
those three
very
are.
far fetched. That's very far
Honestly, I would
fetched.
put Adam Thielen could be at my number 4.
Your ass hurts. Okay, look, Antonio
I
Brown's
had
a
it. I
punk.
know.
He's a punk. Okay, but he's if you're in PPR, he's fighting Michael Thomas for the third spot. He's gonna get 100 something catches. He's definitely breaking at least 1,200 yards, and the guy can find the end zone in multiple ways.
You are right about that. Yeah.
He is every. You know
Yeah.
what? I'd say.
Oh, don't you dare go back on it. Don't go back on it. Michael Thomas is number 3, and you know it. You chose it. Don't you dare say
Okay,
AB.
well, there is
He's
not
a
this
4,
major
but he's not a
difference
3.
between Thomas and Antonio Brown. He's up there. There's
He's
not
up
that.
there, but he's not that. He's not there. He's not, I. No,
Well,
that's.
see, now we're also going off last year. If we go off the last 6 or 7 or
I'm
hell,
also looking at his
8 years,
team as well.
well, hey, he's got. Listen, is
They
Derek
got a
Carr?
great running game.
Derek
Should.
Carr is arguably better than Ben Roethlisberger. He's got a great arm. He's a big guy. He can move around the pocket, extend plays. Antonio Brown can extend plays perfectly. Raiders have a good O line. They have a couple other receivers working around them. I don't see AB can have a career year, which is
Yeah,
impressive.
they've got other receivers around him and a good tight end to go with it. So that's going to spread the ball out a lot more. It's going to take some heat off of Antonio, but it's going to spread the ball around more. And they got Josh Jacobs at freaking running back. Are you fucking
Oh,
kidding
Josh
me?
Jacobs, big deal, Hunter.
That's a
Jacobs,
great running back and a great offense.
big deal.
I'm still going to say Michael Thomas. Don't go back on it. You
I'm
already
not
said
going
it.
back. I'm just saying that was far fetched. Your separation between him and Antonio Brown.
Who's your number 1 tight end?
Number 1 tight end. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is the first
I'll
year
tell you
that
what
I've
you could
played
do.
fantasy without Rob Gronkowski.
What? Oh, okay.
The
All right.
first year without Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
So I had to go. God dang it! Now I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, it's between the two, right? Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz, right? I'm going with Travis Kelce. He's my
Okay. Yeah.
number
Good.
1. He's basically Aaron Hernandez. He can play a slot receiver if you want. Actually, oh my God, that's a great comparison. He's a skinnier tight end that
Blew
can
your own
haul
mind.
ass. He can play the slot. He's like Aaron Hernandez. He's great. He can get the yards. He finds the end zone. Travis Kelce, modern day Aaron Hernandez, right there.
Travis Kelce is my number 1. Sure. Yeah. Why not? I'll throw that comparison in there. All right. Yes, Travis Kelce is my number 1. It's not the toss-up I was wanting your boy Greg Kittle. That's my number 2. My number 2 is going to be Kittle. Jimmy Garoppolo, still a younger quarterback. He's got some weapons around him, but what do all young quarterbacks and unexperienced quarterbacks do? They go for the tight end because they're easy to hit and they run the shortest routes 9 times out of 10. Greg Kittle's going to be my number 2, along with Kelce being my number 1, and that's going to lead me to Ertz being my number 3. Sorry.
I don't have Greg Kittle in my top 3. I have Zach Ertz number 2. 1, because the guy's the modern day Jason Witten, who I say modern day, he's back, but come on, he's going to block. That's it. So Zach Ertz, he gets a lot of receptions. That adds up to a lot of yards per game. And he's clutch. He finds the end zone at seemingly almost every other game. So he's a solid all-around great tight end. I did not put Greg Kittle in my top 3 because I think last year was a fluke. We'll see if I'm wrong or not.
What are
We'll
you?
see.
You
We'll
just
see.
went back on everything you've been. Remember when we made those lineups? Who'd you have at your tight end position for your
I had
best
Greg
lineup?
Kittle at my tight end position because he can block. I said because he's a great blocker and he's a good playmaker. That doesn't mean
I know it doesn't mean fantasy.
I mean, this guy had 200 yards in the first half last year. You think he's going to do that again this year? Come
No,
on. No, he's not. He's not going to do what he did last year. He might grind out 1,000 yards, maybe just over 1,000. If he doesn't do that, he might get 600-700 yards, maybe find the end zone 7 or 8
This
times.
isn't
He's a
receivers we're
great.
talking about. This is tight ends. If a tight end breaks 1,000 yards, that's fucking good.
No, it's not top three fantasy. You got Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce. Hell, Eric Ebron's my number 3 because he finds the end zone more than any other tight end in the NFL now that Gronk's gone.
He also
He had games last year where he had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns in the game.
I
He
like Eric
gets you
Ebron, but
fantasy
my
points.
God,
Greg
have
Kittle,
you seen he
for my
drops more balls than he
we
catches?
go back to that offense we had. Greg Kittle was perfect. He's a possession guy. He's a good route runner and he's a great blocker. We go back and look at that video. That's what I said I liked him for, and he is. He's the new Gronk as far as combo goes. He's a better blocker than Zach Ertz, Kelce, and Ebron combined. That's why I want him on my team as a tight end. On fantasy, he's not doing what he did last year. He's not. If he does, he'll prove me wrong. We'll see.
I could see Ebron being a 4, but still, Kittle, I think he's a number 3.
I
Or
think it was
number
a
2.
fluke.
Sorry, I had number 2.
Time will tell. I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. We will see.
Whatever. You're disgusting right now. Anyway, we're moving on to.
You were high. You had Eric Ebron last year in your fantasy.
Moving on to the defense. Defense. I'm going to go ahead and tell you my number 1, and it should be yours as well, and that is going to be the Chicago Bears.
It is. Chicago Bears are the number 1 defense this year. They are playmakers out the ass. They're going to get hella turnovers. We talked about them a few weeks ago. They could lead the league in sacks, interceptions, the whole 9. They have the
over
number 1 defense
sacks this year. Could be over 70. Over 70 sacks this year. The youngest defense to ever do it. Phenomenal. Defense across the board. Number 1 last year. They're going to be number 1 this year. Did you disagree with me?
I did. We did. It was, we agreed on something.
No, I thought you disagreed with me. Anyway.
No.
Who's your number 2 defense?
Number 2 was my number 1 and the number 1 defense last year, the Baltimore Ravens. So what? They lost Terrell Suggs. I mean, what has he done the last 3 years? Big whoop-de-doo. They lost Eric Weddle.
Sign Earl Thomas.
Exactly. I mean, they really they're going to be the same defense they were last year, if not it's not even a little better. So I think the Ravens defense is still arguably the best behind the Bears. So they're my number 2.
They're not my number 2, but they're a top 5. Sorry, I'm going to put the Rams at number 2, and I'm not the only reason I won't put the Ravens there, but a reason is the loss of Terrell Suggs and the loss of C.J. Mosley, 2 of the linebackers that they had in that 4-3, 2 good linebackers that they had. So that's not the only reason. Well, we won't get into all that. But I have the Los Angeles Rams at number 2 in fantasy. Between sacks, Aaron Donald, Clay Matthews, Dante Fowler. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Great defense all around the board in turnovers, in sacks. I mean, they're going against the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. Between those 3 teams, I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored on the Rams. And that's 6 games right there. So I'm going to put the Rams at number 2.
They're at least a top 5 defense in the league.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. So, moving on to number 3. My number 3 is a team that even in a bad defensive season, they still can be top 5 in points allowed and top 5 in turnovers. They were okay defense last year, phenomenal in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Their defense got even better in the offseason, like way better. I got the Patriots fantasy at number 3. We're looking at strictly at turnovers and points given up. I think they're going to be top 5 in both categories. So, got to go with the Patriots as far as fantasy goes.
No. No.
Yeah.
I think you're
You
going
get
a
the
little
most fantasy
overboard.
points defensively from the points you allow or don't allow in turnovers.
I understand that, but I
Boom,
think
boom.
you're speaking too high upon the Patriots right now. I'm not saying they're bad. It'd be a 10th
Think
or a
about
top
this. They
10.
had the number one defensive backs last year. They had the number one defensive back core. And it's not just Stephon Gilmore back there. It was ranked number one.
You know
Okay.
what? And they have the easiest schedule. I can see it. I can see it. I'm not gonna say that's horrible and that's disgusting. I can see it. I
They
can
got
see it,
Jamie
but
Collins back on defense for Dante Hightower and
yeah,
now well-known Kyle Van Noy. They just signed Michael Bennett. I mean,
I
come
can
on.
see
Their
it. I
defense
can
got
see it.
better from last year. I don't see what the problem with that one is.
Right now, I would think it's a top 7, but it's fine.
Not to
I can
mention,
go with the
it's
third.
defense and special teams. You didn't think about that one, did
Yeah,
you?
Cordero
Special
Patterson. Yeah,
teams. These guys right here, all day, every year.
yeah.
We got it under wraps.
Okay, I can see it. All right, I see
That's
it.
my underrated pick in the draft. Apparently, besides Eric Ebron. Stupid ass George Kittle. Anyway, what's your number 3?
I'm going to go with the Panthers at my number 3.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers going from that 3-4 to the 4-3 to the 3-4 to the 4-3 with the
Bear
one of the
front to
youngest,
the
with one of
5-2.
the most underrated teams in the NFL coming this year. Yes, I'm being biased, and if you don't agree with me, you need to watch some NFL.
I was being biased too, so it's
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, it's fine. It happens. We're wearing jerseys. But yes, Panthers going to be a very underrated pick this year. You know, if they're there, I might pick them maybe first. I don't know. It just depends. I'm going to go with the Panthers at number 3. Very underrated team, very underrated defense. And people forget Ron Rivera calling the plays. One of
Former
the,
85 Bears
yeah,
linebacker. I mean,
yeah,
come on. It's just in his blood. He's
yeah.
naturally a defensive minded guy.
Kick Eric Washington to the side. It's going to be Ron Rivera calling the plays in the defensive side of the ball now. Number 3, Panthers. Anyway, going on to the kickers. Who do you got at number 1?
Number 1, Justin Tucker. I know he
Boom.
missed that PAT last year to lose a game. It's fine. He's phenomenal. He's already a Hall of Famer. Justin Tucker. He's got the
Boom.
leg, the accuracy, the consistency. Plus, the Ravens' offense contains Lamar Jackson, so finding the end zone might be hard if you can't throw a football as a quarterback. A lot of field goal attempts, I think, for the Ravens this year.
With the Ravens, they're going to get a lot of turnovers as well. Boom, you get a
Yep.
turnover, you're automatically in field goal position 8 times out of 10, and Lamar Jackson's not going to move the ball. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Right, exactly.
All right, who you got at number 2?
Number 2, I couldn't shy away from old Steven Gostkowski,
Okay,
Patriots
yeah, yeah.
kicker. He's consistent. He has the record for most made PATs in a row. Hey, good offense like the Pats. I don't know how many field goals he's going to get. He's going to get you some PATs at least. If he does get field goals, he can hit from over 50 yards, which gives you additional points. Him and my third guy were close, but either way, he's my number 2. He's in my top 3.
I'm going to go at number 2. My number 2 and number 3 are literally just based on extra point alone. But Will Lutz is my number 2, and he has a strong leg as well. He has the 3rd strongest leg in the NFL. Can kick from plus 50, can kick from plus 55. Excellent because of the Saints' phenomenal offense of getting extra points. And every single drive, 8 times out of 10, again, they're going to get to field goal range. So I have
Yeah.
Will Lutz at number 2. But Gostkowski, a good pick. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Who do you got at number 3?
Well, I went with the number 1 leg in the NFL. Mr. 63-yarder for the win against the Giants at home last year.
Suck it, Odell.
Graham Gano.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with Graham Gano. I know he's had some inconsistent times, but what kicker hasn't? He's got a consistently. I mean, the guy, they could line it up from the 50-yard line, and like I said, the guy made a 63-yarder for the win, and he could have backed him up another 10 yards.
Yeah.
You got to put the guy with the damn cannon in there. So 10 years ago, I'd I'd have had Janikowski from the Raiders in there, but now it's old Graham Gano from the Panthers. So
I would
he's the
put
guy.
Graham at my top 5, but yes, my number 3 is going to be another extra point boss with the Kansas City Chiefs, so Harrison Butker. Extra
Wow,
points for days with the Chiefs.
that's a
The
different one.
Panthers drafted him 2 years ago with the Christian McCaffrey draft class. So I'm going to go with Butker as my number 3, just because, like I said, extra points. The Chiefs will get down there. If they don't score, surprisingly, they will get an easy field
They
goal out
somehow
there.
don't get it in the end
If
zone with
they
that
somehow
offense.
do not get that ball in the end zone,
Get
by all
randomly
means,
open.
they will get a field goal. And if they do get in the end zone, like they should every single drive or every other drive, that's an extra point right there. Boom. Kick it, good to go. That's my that's my top 3. That's your top 3. Anything else to add to your picks?
That's it. We'll see how about the whole Greg Kittle thing works out, and we'll see. I do want to point out, because I was paying attention, the Panthers have the most fantasy picks between the both of us. Graham Gano, Cam Newton, Panthers defense, Christian McCaffrey. A lot of Panthers going on this year. That's my NFC team. We'll see. That's the NFC Super Bowl pick right here.
Maybe. I ain't going to say all that. That was a great episode. Like we said before, this is a rejuvenated, a brand new, The Extra Point NFL podcast.
NFL only, baby.
NFL. Hit us with your topics. We will look at them and we will review them, and they might be in the podcast. Like we said before, 100 views consistently. We will go
Hunter
live.
will shave his eyebrows. People,
100?
make this happen.
No.
He
No.
will shave
100
them.
views
It's gonna be awesome.
consistently. What? You're messing me up. We will go live. 100 views, we will start having special guests and callers come into the show. But that's all I have. No shaving of the eyebrows. Do you have anything, Nick?
I just want to say that you guys are great. The topics are awesome. Keep the topics coming. And Hunter will be shaving his eyebrows.
Will not.
Yes, he will.
Thank you guys for watching. Tune in next week for episode 15, and we will catch you later.